Well, there it is. Hello and welcome to the Patron Q&A for December. This is where I answer the questions asked by those of the Raider and Tauren statuses on Patron. So without further ado, we shall get cracking. So we're going to start off with Spencer Swanson, who has sent this message. I'm not entirely sure this is the Q&A message. However, I will answer these questions nonetheless, and if you have to ask any more questions, then go ahead. Not a problem, and I shall do that in a follow-up video. Howdy, 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 you hot fudge fun day. How was Christmas? The new year? Did you get proper sauce for the turning of the year, or did you wake up to your resolutions with a clear head? Also, resolutions, have you made any? If you haven't, then you should. I'll tell you my resolution, but it's a bit too personal. How are you going to make yourself a better, sexier, and ever more neurotic man this year? Cheers with X's and O's, your #1 supporter, the one and only Pega Broster. Well, let's start off with Christmas, shall we? That was pretty good. As it goes, the thing I look forward to mostly these years, or at least in the later years of Christmas, tends to be the meals, really. I love tucking into a big roast dinner, so it was lovely in that regard. Otherwise, for presents and such like that, we've never really been a sort of like, I'd call it a thrifty family, if you understand that term. Basically, we don't really sort of give very lavish gifts or anything like that. It's just a small amount of money. Like, typically, I don't ever get much, and I never have got much for my presents or Christmases and stuff like that. And I don't expect to, because that's basically brought me up and raised me to a degree where I've been very careful with my money. And it's worked, because, well, I am very careful with my money. But on the flip side is I'm also very stingy with my money, so that's kind of bad. But I try to put it in the right places. So that's what she said. Anyway, I can't resist that. Yeah, it was good. Christmas was good. Same for New Year, really. I don't know if you watched me streaming. I was streaming live Twitch, A Race to Zan, Unreal Tournament 1999, Game of the Year Edition. I raced versus Pracky. We both streamed live at Twitch on New Year's Eve throughout the New Year's Day. And the first one to kill the last boss basically won, and there's about 44 levels. I got to like level 40 and then had to stop, so that was like 147 in the morning. Not that it was a problem that I could go any further, but I felt like I was making mistakes by that point, and I decided to sleep up and get a good rest and take it on in a couple of days' time. Pracky actually took it on and beat it all the way. So, yeah, he's a bit of a beast when it comes to the FPS first-person shooters. So, yeah, Pracky kicked my ass at that, but that's all right, because I came back in another couple of days and kicked the rest of the game's ass in less than an hour, which was really good, because basically it was the last 4 levels, which are essentially like the hardest type of ones. So, I came back, I sort of realized what I was doing wrong, and, you know, corrected those errors. As for being drunk, no, not really. I'm not a teetotal kind of person. Well, actually, that's wrong. I would say I'm a teetotal kind of person without being fully teetotal. For example, I don't drink, but I don't have a problem with drinking. So it's the same deal as if I was at a Christmas party or something like that and there was alcohol or whatever, I'll drink some of it. But otherwise, I don't care. I'll drink water. Water tastes just as fine to me as alcohol does. A lot of you are going to be flipping out or going, Matt, what? But that's just the way it is. I've got no problem at all with being very sensible with what I have. And it wouldn't bother me in the least to drink or not to drink. So as for that, nah. Resolutions. I guess this goes hand in hand with making myself better. My resolutions for the year are to work even harder on the channel, so both channels included, sort of like really hone down what I'm trying to do with YouTube and Twitch, and hopefully try to stream a bit more often. As for myself personally, health and fitness wise, I'm going to be going nuts, so lots and lots of health, lots and lots of fitness. I in fact bought myself a masticating juicer. Sounds saucy. It's not that saucy. It's basically a slow juicer, and what you do is you put lots of fruit and veg in it, and then it turns it into juice, and you drink that juice. It's delicious. Not really, but it's going to take a while to get used to that. I've done a couple of days of drinking that now, and I've done, the first one I did was 4 carrots and half a lettuce. Imagine that. Well, actually, it wasn't too bad. That was actually quite mild. It was the later ones that I did where it was like kale, apple, and tomatoes or something like that. Not so good. But I drunk it still. And that's the idea, is I'm going to be very fit and healthy. I truly intend to do that. And I actually want to teach myself how to dance on YouTube, believe it or not. So I think I'm going to be doing that. Every now and then I'm going to be popping into YouTube videos and learning how to dance casually. I won't be recording any of it, or I don't plan to. If I do, it'll be sort of like on a stage where I sort of like do clips like 1 week in, or 4 weeks in, 20 weeks in, and then maybe do a compilation video at the end. Who knows? But that will only come out if I actually get good at dancing. So there you go. Again, if you have any more questions, Spencer, because again, I'm not entirely sure if this was the questions for it or whether you were just basically asking me, because I'm trying to get round. I want to get better as well, my resolution at sort of responding, because YouTube obviously provides a lot of content for you guys, and in return you guys provide me with a lot of content in your responses, your questions, and yeah, just banter basically back and forth. So sometimes I fall behind by a few days, and when that happens it goes to hell. So yeah, I try to keep on top of that if I can on a daily basis. Right, Tompelicious is the next fella, who is a Raider patron, and he says, oh, there's quite a lot to read out here, quite a lot of questions. So I guess I won't be able to make this too short, but that doesn't matter too much because, again, this is for the people that are mostly dedicated. So I'm sure you'll get your bang for your buck out of this. I hope, anyway. I hope I can provide some sort of entertainment with my responses, and if nothing else, a humbling experience. So Tompelicious says, hey, Rich, a bit of an overstatement, perhaps. Supporting you and your channel is my pleasure, and I don't feel any pressure. Dem rhymes. It would be awesome if more people could chip in, but I guess it hurts to actually give real money to something you don't have to. I do got some questions for your Q&A. Feel free to answer whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so there's quite a few questions here, indeed. Let's start off. Well, there are. Oh no. You got 1, 2, 3, and then there's 4, 4, 4, and 4. So if I can count correctly, there's 7 questions. So we'll start off with question 1. I remember what you saying that you do. I'm reading this exactly as it's written. He's Swedish, so it's okay. Still good enough English, nonetheless. I remember you saying that you do enjoy going to the gym. Do you even lift? What's your routine, your favorite exercises, and do you have any supplements? How much do you bench? No, not in stones or whatever the heck you use over there. Okay, as for the gym, I haven't actually been yet this year, although I'm saying that I'm going super healthy. I kind of am. I'm doing press-ups and sit-ups and all that kind of stuff at the moment, weaning myself back in, because for the last few months, basically when I started doing that 55-hour live stream, World of Warcraft, I got lazy from that point on, as I expected to, because World of Warcraft came out as a new game. I just knew I was just going to get lazy. I had a few weeks off work, and then Christmas was coming up, so screw the last year, basically, at the end of that year. Starting again this year. When I do go to the gym, which will be shortly, I basically tend to go 5 days a week, and the way I do it at the moment is because I work such stupid hours. Like, I start work at 4:30 in the morning. When I finish work, I really don't want to go to the gym, especially since I bike back and forth to work. I don't use a car, and I can't be bothered biking to town at that time. So I actually got into the habit last year of actually going before work. Now, it's stupid enough to get up at 3:30 in the morning as it is, but I don't have a choice because that's just the job I do. So I personally preferred actually going to the gym before work. Unfortunately, I have to get up at a stupid o'clock, like about essentially 2:30, earlier than that, basically 2:15, 2 o'clock. Bike down to the gym, do my workout for 40 or so minutes, have a shower, and then bike to work. And then when I finish work, I come home and I spend the rest of the day just playing video games, what I enjoy doing, because I'm a very lazy type of person. Once I get settled in, I don't really want to break up that settlement. In fact, I go out of my way to do things early, to get them out of the way, if I know that they're going to be something that I'm somewhat uncomfortable with, or it's going to be some sort of work or effort required. So, yeah, I go to the gym 5 days a week. My routine is essentially the resistance weights. I'm going to start off this year, though, just doing free weights, because I think that's the best way, and I'm going to break myself, like, to pieces. Like, the plan I have, essentially, is to do 40 or so minutes, whatever I can fit in, of essentially lifting weights until I cannot physically lift them anymore. So to exhaustion is the way to do it, because that's the only real way you build muscle, to be honest. Otherwise, you're kind of dancing around the bush, not really getting much done. And that's the way I do it. I had no problem doing that last year. I did it more sensibly, though. I want to do it within realisticness. So the idea is to do a weight that you can realistically and sensibly lift and back and forth in full form, because jerking it or whatever is not going to do you any good. And I'm not talking about what you're thinking. That's a perfectly healthy habit. No problem with that whatsoever. As for jerking weights, no, that's not good for your body. You need to be very smooth in your form. So it needs to be a weight that I can lift smoothly and to exhaustion. That's going to actually knacker me as well at the same time. And I only take like 30-second breaks in between, 30 to 90-second breaks, depending on how knackered I am, until again I can't lift anymore. As for how much I bench, it's not really something I've ever measured, to be quite frank with you. I used to bench more a few years ago, and then I sort of got off the gym for a while, and then I went back onto it. So I'll let you know how I get on throughout the year. Do you enjoy travelling? I can't recall you ever taking a break for that purpose. Studied any foreign languages? I don't have a problem with travelling, but I don't ever do it because I'm so much of a hermit that I just enjoy staying at home pretty much. I'm a very at-home type of person. I could live my life inside of a house. It wouldn't actually bother me in the least. Not that I actually mind going out either. I go out, that's fine. But it wouldn't bother me to just somehow be in prison or whatever, but obviously have the luxuries of computer online activities and such and such. Studied any foreign languages? Yes, kind of. At school, I did German. I don't know how to say do you. Wie bist du sprechen Deutsch? Well, that's about all I could do. Or, yeah, I know a few phrases for German, and then I learnt Spanish as well as a bonus. Like if you were year 9 and you were kind of good at the German, you could sort of learn a second language as well if you wanted. It was optional, and I chose Spanish as well. Que hora es? That's about all I know really with Spanish. And yeah, obviously I didn't take it very seriously from that point onwards. I really enjoyed German for like the first year I did it. I had an awesome teacher, and then I got shit teachers after that. And it's just the same sort of thing with Spanish. Wasn't a particularly mind-blowing teacher. So I'm probably going to answer another question later on that's somewhat similar to this, but I don't do well if I don't feel passion for something. I fall behind. If I do feel passion for something, I just go all out. I'm an all or nothing kind of person. Do you have any plans for the future? Is the main channel, Witty One, a way for you to broaden your audience and maybe gradually change your focus to another game? We all love Warcraft 3, but in my opinion, you deserve more recognition, which would probably be easier with a newer game. Yeah, the Witty One channel, well, the thing I wanted to do, the thing that caused me to split onto Witty Warcraft is whenever I tried to put up other video games that weren't Warcraft 3 on the Witty One channel, I would get a lot of flack for it. And I've got a thick skin, so I'm not easily swayed as it is. But it was to the point where I was just thinking, wouldn't it be good if I just had a channel that was dedicated to Warcraft 3? So if that's all you're interested in, go fucking nuts, because Witty Warcraft has got everything you can need pretty much when it comes to Warcraft 3. So no worries there. As for the Witty One channel, that then leaves me with open space to then do what I want to do with that channel. As for the future plans, it depends. It is a case of finding whatever the next game is going to be that I'm going to play, and then put that on Witty One. Whereas I'll still be doing Warcraft 3, and hopefully they'll be updating Warcraft 3, because we've got that sneaky, it might be on the battlenet app thing coming up, so that could really revitalize Warcraft 3. So I'm not going away from Warcraft 3 anytime soon. I don't really plan to. I never have done. I'm still doing it frickin' 12 or whatever years afterwards. Just as much fun as it has ever been. So for the main channel, it would just be like maybe another Blizzard game like Overwatch or Heroes of the Storm or World of Warcraft, that kind of thing. Or if there's anything else that comes out there that just blows my mind, you know. And I go, wow, this is something I really enjoy doing. I'm going to make videos about this. And that's what that's going to be. I also use the Witty One channel to do sort of vlog type videos. I was testing that out. It's trial and error, because at the moment all of my focus pretty much goes into Witty Warcraft. And I find that I have, because YouTube, believe it or not, it really is very time intensive. If you do it to the level that I'm doing, and I'm not even very high level at all, but I do all my thumbnails, I work on the music and stuff like that, the intros, the outros, all that kind of stuff. I've got to render it. There's so much time that goes into it, and I love doing that. But when you've also got a job and you have other, things in life that you have to deal with, it's hard for me to basically do both channels. So Witty One has unfortunately suffered because of this, and it's kind of lost momentum, which is fine because I've not really got a problem. If it's going to happen to me and I get big or whatever, it's going to happen. You know, I'm just going to do what I can do and let nature take its course in that sense. I will work my arse off and hopefully something comes of it. And if I had the time to work on WTi with another game, then I shall do so. You say, I remember you talking about getting your own place. What's the status on that one? Totally the plan. It comes down to what can I do for a living, doesn't it, really? Like, if I could do this for a living, I'd have to tax it and all of that. And if it was taxable and I was able to be permitted to have a place of my own, if you know what, it's not a case like I'm a crazy person or anything, I'm not allowed my own place. It's a case of, in England, it's incredibly expensive, like really stupidly expensive. And it wasn't that case like 10 years ago. In fact, I probably could have moved out with like a sixth of the money I have now and been fine because they just essentially like no money or not much money. They kind of gave out mortgages for free. Like, it was like, have a mortgage, get a mortgage, because that was the boom years. That was when things were going well. And yeah, you didn't have to have like a job, a high paying job or anything like that, because the way it works in England is you get like it's like 4 times your salary. And obviously if you have a partner and you get a place together, that way you combine together, so it's kind of like 8, and you're both on the same salary. It's basically 8 times your own salary then, in that sense. So you got a lot of leeway. So if you were making, I don't know, 15k, 30k, times that by 4, 60, 120k. That means that's 100. Unless my math is wrong, it's not good to do math live. But anyway, just say 120k you could borrow, and then you put that towards a £20,000 house. Or you say you have £20,000 savings, so you put that towards a £140,000 house. That's how it works. Whereas the recession came, so yeah, no, but back then you didn't need 4 times. That's kind of what it is like, somewhat now. So back then you basically just, it was like, you want this house, fine, go live in it. We trust you. You can pay it off. But that obviously backfired, and now, because of the recession and all of that, it is the case of it being like 4 times your salary at least. And I earn basically fuck all, like not even 15k, basically, around that mark. So as you can imagine, not that much. So I don't have a partner, and if I did, I'm the type of person that wants my own stuff for myself, to earn it, if you see what I mean, and go from there. Unless I completely 100% trusted her or whatever, you know, in every single way, shape and form. We're the same person, we have the same goals, all that kind of stuff. You know it's going to last, but that just hasn't happened yet, so I've got to depend on myself. So then it's 4 times what, you know, like 15k or whatever. That ain't much. That's like £60,000 I can essentially borrow, which is basically what I can borrow. So, yeah, it's dog shit, basically. And houses in Britain are basically, if you go up north, you can probably get a house for like 120k maybe. And we're talking about 2-bedroom houses, stuff like that. You might be able to get something like a bit cheaper, but you'd have to go to some really dodgy areas probably. And otherwise it goes upwards towards 200k plus very comfortably. It's very expensive in Britain. And I plan on getting a house because I want to get settled in and have the long run. I don't really want to do like flats because, again, it would make it really awkward to record videos because you'd have people upstairs or downstairs and they can hear you. I just don't like that. I feel uncomfortable. It doesn't feel like I can be myself when that happens. Yeah, I'm really going on here. This is going to be a long video. I can never work out a way to get Patron into a quick Q&A session. I've got to get better at that, but I suppose you're getting full-blown answers from this. Maybe I'm answering too much. You let me know. But yeah. As for the place basically happening, what it comes down to is I need to work out how much money can I earn, how much can I borrow. You know, go from there. Like if I can find another job or something like that, because you need to find like the beauty of doing it from home or whatever is you live at your home, whereas a job, typically you need to live near it, otherwise you've got to commute a long distance. I don't want to commute a long distance, so then I've got to find somewhere that I can work and live nearby. So then that's the case. I've got to find somewhere I can live that works where I work. So it's a nightmare. It is hard work, and this is only the beginning. So I plan to do it this year, but that's a plan. There's not much that's gone into it otherwise than just wanting to do it. I've saved up a lot of money. I'm not going to tell you how much, but that's pretty much from just living my life on not much money per year, but saving almost all of it because essentially I don't spend any money because I'm very conservative because of the way I was brought up. With my cash, didn't get much, so there you go. I have to put it away to then actually make some money in the first place, and yeah, I'm going to have to use that on top of the 60,000 that I can borrow to get a house, that kind of thing. So it's close to doable in that sense, if that gives you any clue. But it's hard. It's very hard to get your own place in the UK. Someday I'll sort it out. But it really is the key, because if I can get my own place, I can get settled in, I can get my own studio, proper sound booth, etc., recording equipment, all of that, and it wouldn't be wasted. So there you go. Wow. Okay. Have you ever played on any other Battle.net server than the European? I'm Swedish, but currently studying in China, where Warcraft 3 still is popular. My Chinese girlfriend actually plays it sometimes too. The level of gameplay seems to be higher here and less hackety-hack. Yes, I have played on other servers, but almost predominantly always on Europe, basically. So I've tested the other servers. I've had some fun. I was actually thinking of trying a new series where it's called Witty Crushes America, and I play on US East and just play like Warcraft 3 games, 4 versus 4, 1 versus 1, and just beat people on it, and then put videos up onto YouTube and get Americans mad. So let me know if you want to see that one. I haven't tried Asia, but I think the ping between here and Asia might be really, really big, which is why I feel sorry for Australians, because they get screwed over. I don't think they can. I think America might be the best one for Australians, and that's not even that good for them. Or Asia. I'm not very good with geography. We've been over this. If you watched me basically go over how big Russia is a while ago, then you'll know what my geography is like. You haven't said much about your work, but just that it's administration. Did you go to uni after high school, or did you start to work just after graduating? Well, I kind of spoke a little bit about work there. It is essentially just administration. I don't really know how to explain it. It's not really a very important job or anything like that. It's just sort of like paperwork, organization, putting files into places, pigeonholes, that kind of stuff. It's just office work, basically. There really isn't that much to it. It's quite a simple, easy job. Did I go to uni after high school? No, I went to college for a short while, and then that kind of didn't work out exactly how I wanted it to, because I was studying. The only course I was interested in was drama. I just wanted to do drama, but I had to pick other subjects. So I picked sociology and English and got bored to high hell with the other two. So I just didn't want to carry it on, really. So then I just went into basic working, into warehouses and stuff like that, of which I spent the majority of my life. And I actually don't mind working in warehouses. Felt quite comfortable there for some reason. Maybe it's just because I was kept back, which is strange because I put myself publicly on YouTube and stuff like that, personality-wise, but at the same time I'm kind of reserved, and I like the thing of being in the background. So it's kind of controversial. I guess you can see it in two different lights. When it comes to work, I just want to be in the background. But when it comes to actually what I enjoy doing, drama and obviously entertaining, kind of like broadcasting, then I'm more than happy to put that out there. Besides your day job and the YouTube channels, do you do something that gives you any income? Giving handjobs in the McDonald's public bathrooms doesn't count. Damn it. I'm thinking programming, web designing, and such. No, I do not. The only other monetary money that I can possibly get, monetary money, is from YouTube or Twitch and such. And obviously, it's not that much, but the Patron actually gives, more than the YouTube and such, though. So you guys are supporting me more than, the YouTube and that I've been on for ages. So the idea essentially is to, stream more regularly, put up constant YouTube footage, build up the channel, build up the audience, so that way I can get the money from the ads and use that as income. And obviously the Patreon stuff could well and truly pay for it if people were generous enough. I mean, super generous as it is, it's only 66 a year, is crazy, and it's up to like 400 and so. It's very ridiculously generous, quite a few of you. Yeah, I mean, it's like a combination of all those things work together to essentially eliminate going to work and making this my job. So that's what it comes down to in regards to that. I would say I did do writing. I'm technically a professional writer, or was. When StarCraft 2 came out, I made YouTube videos of it, and I got contacted by an American company who wanted. They were like a website. I don't think they're going anymore, but they were a website, and they wanted like guides and stuff like that. So I wrote guides for the races, units, strategy guide website basically, and I made a few blog type posts. They'd take credit for it, but I wrote it, sort of thing. So it would go up on their website. It wouldn't credit me or anything like that, and they'd give me something for it. It wasn't much though. I can't remember how much it was. 0.02 cents per word or something like that. So it wasn't much. In the end, you'd end up getting like $20 or something like that, maybe, for a 1,000 word article. And they didn't really want me to go up to 1,000 words, but obviously I wanted to make some money out of it, otherwise I wasn't getting much out of it. So I deliberately kept writing like ridiculously long strategies, and in the end they just never talked to me anymore. I never heard from them again. So I did it for like a good few strategies, and then that was it. I never got contacted by them anymore, so obviously they got a bit tired of me trying to, you know, use too many words. It wasn't like I did and the all the time. I actually did write a lot of stuff. So, yeah, they just wanted smaller, quicker, snappier sentences. Oh no, that's it. All right, thank you. So we got to the end of Mr. Tompelicious. He says, thanks for the content, and as long as the videos are entertaining, I will gladly support you. Thomas, thank you very much, Thomas. All right, moving on to Daniel RundasX, as I like to call him, D. Sent you a message. He did indeed. He says, hope I'm not too late for the question. All I could think of would be, how did you started gaming, and how did you got into streaming in general? I know this could potentially be a big question, but sometimes it is interesting to hear other people's first touch with a game. That sounds dodgy. I really can't remember if this has been asked before. If it did, I'm sorry and stupid. Again, hope it's not too late. Next time I'll be in time with a question. Cheers. Well, you were in time with a question, so we will answer this question. It's kind of a biggie indeed, so permit me some water. Alrighty. It could be an absolutely freaking ginormous question, so I'm not going to go to the ends of the earth, but how did I start gaming? I've pretty much been gaming all my life. This is tough. I guess I started in like the Spectrum or the Commodore 64 were my earliest memories as a kid, so I was like 4 or 5 years old, that sort of thing. Moving on to Atari and Amiga, and I used to share that with my sister. But the problem was, and this is basically a telltale sign of my addictive personality and just loving gaming and computers and stuff like that, is we were supposed to share it, but I used it so much. That's it. We had an Atari. We were supposed to use it so much, share it, but I used it so much that my dad kind of got fed up and bought an Amiga, so that way my sister could have the Atari and I had the Amiga. So we had our own one, because I just ended up hogging it all the time and she wasn't getting any good time with the computer. And I remember playing Captain Planet, and I can't really remember many other games on it, to be quite frank with you. I just really vividly remember playing Captain Planet on it, and it was awesome. Then, obviously, I moved on to PCs. This is probably in the early days of when you had Microsoft Theme Park, if you remember Theme Park. I don't know if it was definitely called Theme Park, but something like that. You had like a Theme Hospital. I didn't like the Theme Hospital so much. Theme Park was really good. Age of Empires, basically had that at school. They were trying to be educational and teach us with that, although it was an after-school kind of thing. And I got so addicted to that me and a bunch of others that were pretty addicted ended up trying to hack into the computers and load up the game even though you weren't supposed to. So when the cleaners were like hoovering, like these strange ladies come in, and we were like playing on the video games, desperately trying to spend hours trying to get into games and make it work. The dedication was ridiculous, basically, put it that way. I was totally hooked on gaming from a very early age, and it carried on. Played Heroes of Might and Magic, all of that kind of stuff. I was very big into strategies. I always played a lot of real-time strategy games. The only FPS games I would have played would have been sort of like story games like Deus Ex, Duke Nukem. Oh, I can't seem to think of many off the top of my head. Shogun. Basically, I played pretty much all of them, to be quite frank with you. But I didn't treat them as like the same way I treated RTS, where with real-time strategy, I didn't have, put it this way, I didn't have online connectivity until I was 17 years old. So up until that time, I was just playing single-player games, and I would come home, I would play Age of Empires, I would set up scenarios, because I've already beaten the campaign, and scenarios are where you can just come up with a random scenario, it can spawn the computer in a random spot, you spawn in a random spot, random resources, go at it. And obviously you can have multiple computers and such, and I just played over and over and over. I played Heroes of Might and Magic to death, because I loved the challenge of that, just trying to beat the computers, get the biggest armies. So I really got into the real-time strategy. So as for the gaming and progressing it much further, I think it got a lot more serious when I remember seeing a PC Gamer magazine, which actually had an article on Warcraft 3, and looking at that going, oh, that looks interesting. But I wasn't too super passionate about it or anything, and I came from Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2. I loved those games. Loved them. It's a bit more bitter playing them again recently. Obviously better back in the day, but amazing games nonetheless. And yeah, Warcraft 3 came out, and I got it a month after it came out. I didn't even get it in the first start, because, like I say, I got a new computer when I was like 17, and that was the one where I got internet connection and got Grand Theft Auto 3. So that was the first 3D Grand Theft Auto that came out. Bought that in the shop where we got the computer, and bought Frozen Throne. No, Reign of Chaos, which was on the shelves at the time. So I played Warcraft 3 single player for like a week, I think, and then realised that you could go online, and then I got hooked. No, I would have played the campaign. Then went online and got hooked on customs for like the first week or so. I didn't realise you could even play ladder, like 1 versus 1, 4 versus 4, and all that kind of stuff. And then I loved these kind of tower defense type games, or these defense with the heroes games. There's a castle defense. Use the Archmage, you use Blizzard. It was totally imbalanced. Games weren't very balanced there, custom games back then. Then I made the account of Boy Racer, which was my main account. If you've seen my Reign of Chaos video recently, you might understand why I had the name Boy Racer there, because I explained it. That's an old school name I used to have, because I was a Boy Racer back then. I didn't have particularly fancy cars or anything like that, but I had hot hatches, and I used to rag them to death and put loud subsystems, sound systems in them, and treat them like shit, basically, and race off lights and stuff like that. So that's why I had the name Boy Racer. And then that was like essentially Racer. My nickname became Racer. Sapraki still calls me Racer. Quite a few people still call me Racer to this day. They don't call me Witty. And Witty's a new nick as it's such. Well, there it is. It's like the YouTube nick. But you can call me Racer. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really. Yeah, I started getting really into the Warcraft 3 competitively. Like, I remember back then I think I must have been 16, 17. I was working at Sainsbury's, and that's a retail store. And I would, on my breaks, work out like how many games I needed to play to make it to rank 1 or level 50 back then. And I was totally off, because I figured that you didn't need that many games, because I was basing it off the experience I was earning. When you win a game, you get experience, and obviously you get a lot more experience when you start off, and later on it gets a lot harder to get experience. When you get experience in the later stages, you only get like 80 experience, whereas if you win a game at low level, you get like 150 experience or more. So I got that wrong, and then I didn't account the fact that I would be losing games as well. The way I saw it is I'll be winning every single game up until level 50, so I was obviously very gullible back then. But yeah, I really got into the competitiveness of it and loved it. And did I ever get rank 1 in 4 versus 4 RT back then? I don't know. But I definitely got the first level 1 Priestess of the Moon, so I basically got a high level account. Got the icon, Priestess of the Moon, which is the 500 win icon, I think. Not the 1500. I never got the 1500 one. I played Night Elf all the time back then. And yeah, that was 4 versus 4 RT, or 3 versus 3 RT, if that's what it was. Honestly, struggle to remember. But yeah, very good back then, and played that like mad. Then lost all my games deliberately, pissed off a lot of people, just so I could get level 1. And it looked really weird back then, because no one really did that kind of thing. So I was like someone with this fancy looking icon, but I was level 1, and it just looked weird to people. Now it's not really a big deal at all, but at the time it was revolutionary. I always did weird stuff, and I always have done. I always will do. Frozen Throne came out, or should I say Frozen Throne, but that's so much effort for me to say with my accent. Frozen Throne, Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne, free. I got 28-0 in random team, doing 2 versus 2 and telling my ally to rush. And then I lost like 3 games in a row, and then another game shortly afterwards, and got like, I don't know, 30 wins and 4 losses, and wanted to scrap the account and start again. I got mad. But it was stupid because I was going to lose eventually, but I just went mental because I was just doing so well. And this is right at the very start of it. I like perfect. It looked perfect. It looked like hacks, basically, cheat. And yeah, Frozen Throne's amazing, and obviously it's led up to the stage where I am now. Managed to reach rank 1 and all that, make a YouTube channel out of it, bring out the content for you guys. So that's where I got into gaming. I'm not sure. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Must have done to some degree. Into streaming in general. Into streaming, I guess that was just an offshoot of using YouTube, because I use YouTube for 4 years now. A long time ago, about 10 years ago or so, I made a video, 2 videos, World of Warcraft, and back then I had recording software. It was terrible and I couldn't do it. I had like 10 FPS when I was recording. Awful. One of them was called Prakky's Care Control, and the other one is called No, That's Not Going to Happen. I don't think you can find them on YouTube now, but I do have them as a video file format, which I can watch at my leisure. And they show off me basically playing World of Warcraft. One was on my gnome rogue, which was basically yeah, back then I got the tabard for being like the #1 PvPer on the realm, and that was like you could only have 1 person on each, so 1 person on Alliance, 1 person on Horde of each server. Got that tabard, no one else did. I took it like quite seriously, and I loved it. I freaking loved it. In fact, that's all I did. I didn't even do PvE or like raiding. People would say, "Oh, come raiding." I would just be sitting Orgrimmar all day, and that's what a lot of my recording was. Me ganking people in Orgrimmar on low health, because eventually, after a week or 2, once people started raiding Molten Core, they started getting good gear. Whereas I still had crappy greens and blues from leveling, so people started to outgear me and it became a lot harder to kill. But I would log in and I would just kill people in Orgrimmar. And then I would log off and go to sleep. That was my day, and I loved it. Otherwise, yeah, also in vanilla, what we did is when I made a shaman, Pracky made a priest, and we came across the fun strategy of mind controlling people and pushing them off a boat. So you'd mind control the person, jump them off the boat just before it starts loading the next screen, so it's as far away from the port where you actually hop on the boat. And this is World of Warcraft swimming. You move at about 50% movement speed, and you've got to go. It took them like 5 to 10 minutes at least to get back to the shore, maybe longer, depending on how late we could leave it before knocking them off the boat before the loading screen comes. And we just spend basically evenings doing that, and those are some of the happiest times. Just sort of like good memories. Just basically mind control people, griefing them, because they would all hop onto this boat, because that's how you travelled. From continent to continent. You didn't have flying mounts or anything like that. You go from continent to continent, and they were raiding Anchorage. So obviously all these big raiders would come out with their nice gear, and then you kill them by just knocking them off a boat. You don't kill them, but you kill their spirit, because you don't need to actually actively kill them. You just push them off the boat, and then what's all that gear for? Nothing. And they got crushed that way, so that was a lot of fun. Yeah, into streaming, like I said, it's just an offshoot of video gaming in general, my life. So it just made sense to go into Twitch and use their awesome services to bring you some quality content in regards to Warcraft 3 and other games that I've played. Although everyone always says, why aren't you playing Warcraft 3 when I'm not playing Warcraft 3? So I love your passion for Warcraft 3, but if I am playing another game, generally it's because I know that I'm playing that game. It's not like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't playing Warcraft 3. Oh shit, sorry. Yeah, what was it? Why am I on this game? Let me just hop onto Warcraft 3. If you could probably not ask me about that, that would be great. I tend to play other games like most people do. I don't just play one game only, so I do like to enjoy other games. So if I am streaming other games, then so be it. but obviously I will be streaming Warcraft 3 as well. So be respective is what I would say in regards to that. Yeah, that's pretty much my story, I guess. I hope that answers your question. I guess there's a few other bits that might have been missed out, but maybe for another day. But otherwise, it's not deliberately missed out. It's just I'm just trying to recall as much as I can, and that's it. My memory isn't the best, and there you go. Basically, big time nerd, love gaming, always will do, always have done, to the day I die. It's just as simple as that. It's not going to stop, so you have that in mind. So that's it. Thank you very much for the questions, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this and it satisfied you. And obviously, if you guys are still at the end of this video, anyone else that's interested in becoming a patron, you can do so, like these awesome dudes, at www.patreon.com/WTiiWarcraft. It will be in the video description, and you can pledge whatever you feel comfortable with, if you wish to. And you'll get yourself a nice little bonus reward. Check out the rewards and you'll see what I mean. Right then, thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves and bye. Take care.